Hey everyone, my name is Zach. I'm a 23-year-old competitive bowler from Canada, currently living in Montreal. Welcome back to the COMPCLIMB training series, where I'll record most of my training, provide in-depth analysis of every session, and just chat about climbing with an emphasis on competition. So here we are back home in Ontario for a couple days before flying out west to BC for the high performance competition. And I was talking a little bit about the high performance competition in the previous episode, but for those who don't know, it is basically like Nationals Part 2. So it's another event where I don't know exactly what it is, but it's like the top 15 to 20 athletes from Nationals get invited to the high performance competition. And it is basically just used as another event for athletes to earn points and be selected for the World Cup teams. So it's a pretty important event coming up. It's about like a week and a half out. And what's happening is Maddie and I are just like flying out of Toronto to go to Victoria. And so we're just gonna spend a couple days home in Ontario before we fly out and train in Victoria for about a week, maybe a little bit longer. So yes, here we are at my home gym, Climbers Rock, just for some bouldering. And so usually what I like to do on day one is I will be doing 2 boulder sessions. That's just what we're doing on this program. And what I was realizing is I was starting to get really beat up, especially even just since the last episode. We had 2 days of like ridiculously intense bouldering where we had a really high, just like a lot of bouldering, some high volume stuff. Usually I don't do that much bouldering in like 2 days of training, but we had the rose block comp simulation that I wanted to take part of instead of doing like, our normal campus session. And we didn't do any hangboard either, just because I wanted to climb more at rose block. So what ended up happening is after those couple days of climbing, I was ridiculously destroyed. And this session that I'm having right now at Climbers Rock is probably the worst session I've had in a long time. I just felt obliterated and like so many parts of my body were hurting. And so as I was having this session, what I realized was I was only going to do 1 session of bouldering today instead of 2. And I wasn't even going to make it that much longer. I was just going to climb for an hour and then just rest so that my body could regain some skin. I've been low on skin, and just like heal up a bit and become less sore, because it's okay to sort of break my body down with lots of intense bouldering, a couple weeks out from a target event. But then as I get closer, I really got to hone it in, control myself. And, we're trying to hit a bit of a peak for this high performance competition. So that means the volume needs to be lower so that we can be feeling really good in everything we do and we're not being destroyed and tired all the time. So now I really need to start getting control of myself, and that's what I started to do today by deciding to only do 1 session of bouldering rather than 2. And as you'll notice, maybe you've noticed even just throughout the boulders that we've been doing today, I'm like looking super shaky. I find that I can't really grab onto anything or try super hard. And another thing, actually, I don't know if this happened on any of the boulders from Rose Block or Beta Block. Well, I think honestly my legs were a bit tired from the foot hop boulder that we were doing at Beta Block in the last episode. And then after the Rose Block session as well, I had my exercises to do, and I did some pistol squats, and I pushed it a little bit too far with the pistol squats on that day. And so anyway, both of my hamstrings were so sore today. I had this feeling that I've never really had ever, I think, where my legs were like so sore that they felt heavy. And every time I'm like cutting my feet and having to bring my legs back onto the wall, I was having like difficulty contracting my hamstrings, even just in order to bring my legs back onto the wall after swinging out, in combination with just having pretty low grip strength today. So it was just a brutal day of training. You'll notice we're sticking to a lot of moderates for this session. And like I am trying like a couple hard boulders, and then if I fall and I feel like, okay, this is just too much today, I just like move on right away. So it was just like kind of one of these kind of days. So after doing some moderates, as many moderates as we could out on the overhanging section of Climbers Rock, I'm heading back to our other room of bouldering. And we have like 2 large boulder sections at Climbers Rock, and this area is called the lab. So we have like the steep concrete walls out front, and then back here in this room in the lab, we have like some more vert, some more slab, and I think we try to set a little bit more comp style back here, but still also classic style as well. And check out these green holds, by the way. These are some new holds that we just got. I think one other gym in Toronto also got them recently, but I think that we are kind of one of the first few gyms in North America to get these holds by a company called Arctic. They are very cool, and there's more of them around in the gym as well. They are super, super cool. Can't wait for more gyms to start getting this set. And so what was also funny about this session was, you know, usually if I have a bad feeling session, it'll mean, you know, that my grip strength is just kind of not so great and I can't really try physical boulders. But this day was so crazy. Like I was saying, my legs were messed up as well. And so I couldn't even find like safety on vert boulders or slab boulders. Like escaping the grip strength wasn't even enough because my legs could not try hard either. So I found there was just no escaping this really garbage feeling day. So I'm kind of like playing around on this blue boulder for a while to finish the session. It's not too intense in the grip, and even though my legs feel like they can't really perform on this boulder either, I don't have much else in the gym to try. So yeah, I just play around on this boulder for a while. So Jamie set this boulder, and he was telling me that the idea for this move is to kind of just grab this undercling with 2 hands. So with our right hand, sort of side pulling it rather than underclinging it, and just, you know, sort of stand up to the left, go to this crimp, and just trust the foot and hope it doesn't slip. But on this day, I was like, there's no way that I can grab this little crimp, so I have to try and find a different way to do it, which is why I'm trying to find like a more balancy way where I'm mantling out of this position and this wall is like just vert enough that I can almost no hands when I'm on that heel hook on the little triangle volume, and then just press up to this crimp, which is kind of flat, so it's pretty good. But yeah, I can't try to do like a stand-up move to this crimp, so I have to go like this down climb sequence. It's actually kind of a fun sequence, and then get this heel up, and the heel is like super slippery too when we're trying to set it, and I think my heel slips here actually as well. But yeah, this was a fun boulder, occupied me for a little bit, and then gotta go home, rest up, hopefully feel better tomorrow for another session of bouldering here at CR. So here we are back the next day for another hour-long session of bouldering at Climbers Rock. And I was very hopeful and curious to see if my body would decide to upgrade me from yesterday, from like just feeling like absolute garbage. And that was the case. I felt quite a bit better than yesterday. There's really no way that I could feel worse. Like it was just so garbage yesterday. And I felt fine today. It was like pretty neutral, which is good. So it was just sort of like a one day, massively, I was just feeling so much fatigue from like some intense sessions of bouldering previously. And now I'm like feeling a bit better, especially after just doing 1 session of bouldering. My body's used to doing 2. So it was like really benefited from all the extra recovery. And that's sort of the idea as we're getting closer to a target event, is just to taper down the volume so your body is sort of surprised and able to use all of the extra recovery to feel nice and fresh for when we want to perform. And that's just kind of what we're starting to do. Like especially when we go to BC for like our week of training, the sessions are all going to be a lot shorter. I'm going to do like 45-minute long sessions of bouldering. And then the last couple days before the event, I'm just gonna go do like a couple mock comp rounds and that'll be it for the whole day. So like super, super short sessions of bouldering. So we're feeling like nice and fresh. So we can't have any more of those crazy days where we go to beta block and climb a bunch of stuff and then go to rose block and do a bunch of stuff as well. So yeah, just some short sessions of bouldering coming up to get nice and peaked for the HP comp. So now this boulder that we're trying here in the back wall was what I imagined was going to occupy most of the session today. Even though I was not feeling great yesterday and I, put a couple tries on it, I could tell that it was still quite hard. Even if I was feeling good, I would definitely have to work it for quite a bit. And that proves to be the case. So this boulder is actually quite cool. I really like this boulder. I'd say it's maybe a bit anti-style. So it's like a good one for me to work on, but it's funny, even with anti-style boulders, I can enjoy them quite a lot. So the crux revolves here around this middle sequence where I have like a bit of a knee scum with my right between these two holds, and it's like just helps inch your way up to this crimp. And then the beta that I found was to actually, oh yeah, you can see me looking at my finger. So this crimp on the volume is quite sharp. I was starting to get a bit of a split, and so I had to tape my pointer finger up because we don't want to be getting splits right before competition. So I'm like figuring out how to do this part here, which is like the hardest move, going up to this right-hand side pull and unwinding out of it. And the trick to help me stick it on that attempt right there is actually going to be today's tip of the day. So pretty simple one for today. I found like the attempts that I was not close at all on this move. I was really just trying to crimp this hold, which is obviously super Gaston and it's not designed to be a down pull. And I was really struggling to sort of pull off of it all. And then what I sort of accidentally did on that try you just saw was I really got my forearm way more into play. And these sort of upside down urinal shaped holds are very common in comp style bouldering these days. Like, you got the cheetah versions of this flat hold, and they love to put them upside down all the time. And a lot of times when you have to sort of wrap and wrestle these holds, it can be very advantageous to really get your forearm in play. And it sort of can be just this whole patch of friction and support that can help you when you have to wrestle these holds, rather than just trying to use your hand or your palm. And so that attempt, I was like not only crimping the crimp, but I was like hooking my whole forearm on it. And that really helped pull me close to the wall and give me extra support to move to the left. So today's tip of the day is that if you are willing to sacrifice some skin on your forearms, I got a bit of a rash right now, they can be a valuable weapon, and see when you can get your forearms in play, especially on like these sort of massive sloper wraps that you really got to wrestle with. Forearms can be a good tool for that. So now that I had unlocked the sort of crux move of this boulder, I had a bit more confidence in getting this end. But that being said, you can see I'm still quite struggling with it, and it's not easy to get my forearm into that position. I found that it was like really difficult to get my elbow high enough in order to hook my forearm onto the hold. And I was starting to power out a bit. So I decided, okay, I'm trying to use all this technique and like my new method to hold this hold, but I also just got to try hard. So I got a little bit more fired up for this attempt. I used some heavy breathing techniques to get nice and fired up, and that helped me just have a bit more power with my arms to pull myself into that forearm position and set myself up nicely for the crux move. And managed to get a nice end of this really, really well set boulder. I think it was by Asha. So yeah, I had a lot of fun working that boulder, and it felt pretty anti-style, so it was nice to get a cool send of that. And that projecting that boulder ate up a lot of the session. It was, like I said, it's just an hour-long session of bouldering for this one. And then later in the day, I'm gonna go do my hangboard. Just some crimp hangs, pinch block, and then a couple exercises. So yeah, I gotta just try and keep it to an hour long of bouldering, not go too much over time, because I have more stuff to do later on. So I decided to put a few more attempts on this blue boulder, see if I could unlock it, but I think that it could maybe go with this method. I think it would just take a lot more time to work on it, and I had reached my capacity for my session and so I didn't have any more time to try it. But yeah, that wraps up a couple fun sessions of bouldering at my home gym, Climbers Rock. It's nice to get some good home cooking in and try some physical boulders, which we are known for. And so now we are going to have a rest day tomorrow and fly to BC, like I said, where we'll spend about a week. I think it's 6 days of training in Victoria at one of my favorite gyms, Boulder House. So that should be fun. And hopefully we can start getting like nice and peaked for the high performance comp, which is a pretty important event coming up. So you can look forward to some sessions in Victoria coming up soon. Insert catchy video show here.